Welcome to the most forward-thinking, inspirational podcast in this reality. The show designed to challenge everything we've been taught. If you've ever felt there had to be more to life, more to existence, then you're listening to the right podcast. Time to open your mind and dive in. This is the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast.
And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Today is Monday, June 12th. Yeah, June 12th. We're halfway through June. Gosh, darn it. Golly gee. How did we get here? Where did June go? What's going on? Last time I spoke, I touched on some forest fire stuff, and I thought to myself, I could go into detail on some of these things, but then you just see it get sort of inundated with everything. And I'm not saying we shouldn't take in our information and all that fun stuff, but honestly, I don't need to talk more about the topic. Not that, there's a million people out there like delving in and doing this research and pouring their soul into this stuff. And truth is all of it's speculation. And what I mean by that is we see clips and we see this and we see that and we get ourselves all up in arms and we get all riled up. And I get upset about that, which is kind of the crazy thing. I mean, we sit here trying to save our energy, not to give away freely the one thing that we know that they're after. And I say they, I mean, how many times have you heard that this place is an energy usurper? This is a place, this earth realm is here to take your energy. And we think that we're protecting ourselves and saving ourselves by doing all this sort of stuff. We turn off the televisions and we keep our Wi-Fi down and we don't put in wireless earphones into our ears. We wear our tinfoil hats. But what we're really doing is just giving into, I want to say, the fear of it all under the guise of preparedness, as it were. Think about how angry we've been for the past little while, especially Canadians, over the forest fires. And the likelihood is that what it's going to create. Obviously, it's going to create new restrictions. It's going to create new taxes. It's going to create the illusion of climate change. It's going to create more lies and more bullshit. And it's coming. There's nothing we can do about it. It's not like all of a sudden these guys are just going to stop doing it. And I think to myself, I'm like, well, there's certainly something that we can do. We can get upset. We can get riled up. And we can pull the bandwagon together, fiddly-dee. But at the end of the day, it's your energy and your essence and your soul that's at stake here. And I'm not just talking about the forest fires, obviously. I'm talking about everything. We go along fine and we're centered and we're doing okay and we're checking things out and we're understanding things and we're being positive and we're looking into things and we're understanding more things and all this sort of stuff. And then something slips inside of us where we kind of lose control or we get too caught up in one thing and we get dragged down. I see myself right now today in this very day. I'm dragged all over the place with regards to the trans thing and the children involved and the forest fires. And I'm sitting there going I'm losing a piece of my energy here. Right? You can get into a fight tooth and nail with anyone that's like, the trans people have been here forever and they just haven't had a right to say whatever. Man, when I was a kid, if you were trans, the term trans in and of itself meant you transitioned. You cut off your pee-pee and you went full lady. Right? That's not what's happening right now. We have everybody everywhere wearing woman face. And do you remember blackface? Blackface would get you canceled. Right? Chinese face, yellow face, whatever it was would get you canceled. But woman face doesn't. Woman face is to be applauded. And you look at this and you see all these people who want to fight for this. They want to fight for this. Meanwhile, all of the women are losing. The woman of the year went to a man. The Olympic sports swimming went to a man. All of these things are going to men. And you're seeing these fights and you're seeing all this stuff on the internet where men want to use the women's washroom or whatever it is. Like, they should be unisex washrooms. Men should be able to, and the women's rights people are like, yeah, freedom for women. And I'm watching all of this and I'm thinking to myself, honestly, me, just talking to you, I got nothing to do with it. I got no, no chips in the barrel here. I have my principles and my morals, like don't corrupt the children. Imagine sending the devil into the school and having him sing. Just like why the transgenders, or not the transgenders, the drag queen reading hour, why that has to happen, I don't know. But at the same time, I look at all this stuff and I see all this stuff and I think to myself, what do I really know? I know that whenever I open my phone or whenever I see a piece of media, there's a division tactic or something that I don't like being shoved down my throat. It's, can you believe this is happening? Can you believe that's happening? And I think to myself, I mean, who really is letting these kids be influenced by what people are doing sexually? At what point, imagine two straight people went into the kids and started reading to them and telling them about all kinds of crazy stuff and making it very apparent what goes on behind the closed doors of two straight people. Two straight white people named Chad and Susan. I don't think so. You start talking about whips and chains and handcuffs to kids. Well, we've got a problem here. And then, of course, you have the uneducated or the people who just simply want to fight. Do I want to be rude about it? No, not really, because I'm not here to be rude. So should I say uneducated? No. I'll say people that are fully wrapped up in the story, not uneducated. So I take that back. I retract. People that are fully wrapped up in the story, fully invested in the story, are going to defend not what's happening. They're going to defend their perception of what's happening, and they're going to make damn sure that you're wrong. Right? And if you think about it, you're going to get into a fight with this person, and you're going to argue, and you're going to share your energy, and you're going to get animated and aggravated, and this other person's going to get animated and aggravated because clearly you're a fucking bigot. Right? Because it doesn't seem to make sense to you. And they don't have the, because they're fully invested in the story, they don't have the cognitive dissonance or the ability to set themselves aside and say, wait a minute, maybe this is a little bit crazy. Maybe this is a little bit more than meets the eye. But that's not the case. You're going to get called names. And it's so funny too, because those who are doing their best to make sure that all of humanity is kind and peaceful and fully accepting of everything, these are the people that are calling you names. So even as I'm trying to describe this thing, I'm laughing at the narrative. I'm laughing at the interactions, and it's getting my energy again. You see that? It's getting my energy again. And if the purpose of this universe and this and the overall big purpose of this planet, this picture, this place that we're in, if the purpose of this is to get your energy, well, mother of all pearls, doesn't it just keep getting my energy? Energy that I don't want to give. I don't want to get animated about this. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to get upset. And when I think about it, and yet here we are. This is the thing that really floors me. This is the thing that's like, no matter how much you're prepared and understanding and comprehend kind of who you are and where you fit in this realm and what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do and what you're supposed to believe, every single time you think you've got it figured out, the game shifts. And then when you inch your way in, and when you sort of gradually understand a little bit more, or you follow down a rabbit hole a little bit more, a little bit tighter, it's almost like you lose yourself. You lose a piece of yourself to the point where you're like, all of a sudden you're full on, like you're downloading stuff and getting ready to post stuff, and you're, whatever it is, you're immersed in it again. And you're like, shit, it got me again. And it's like, time to step back. I'm going to go hug a tree and just chill out in the forest for like 3 days. Because you have to, because you can't get involved in this. I'm not saying don't get involved as in stand for nothing or whatever it is. I'm saying be aware that the overall purpose of everything in its entirety that's going on is working a certain system. And we keep falling trapped to that system by trying to defend certain things. Donald Trump's another one. Donald Trump's constantly in the news. And everyone that's pro-Trump is like, how the hell is he constantly, and nobody's paying attention to what Biden did, and Biden's kids and Trump's kids, and like, what's his name's laptop, and I'm supposed to razzle frazzle, like there it is again. She's like, fuck, I'm wrapped up in it again, and I'm losing my energy. And the universe, the ethos, the bad parts of the ethos, we got you again. Oh, just taste it a little bit. And you're like, shit. Right? Because the whole purpose of this is you defending yourself, you defending your energy, not giving it away freely, giving it to what counts, giving it to what's important, giving it to what's good. You, your essence, your energy, what you're creating, this is where your energy needs to go. The distractions, no. And we're so smart, we're so wise. We don't have cable TV. We shut all this stuff down. We don't care. Hey, Tucker Carlson got kicked off TV. I'm never going to pay attention to Tucker Carlson. Like, how do we make this man bigger? The ethos says, how do we make this man bigger? Well, we pit him against Fox. We pit him against legacy media. And then all the people are like, yeah, I'm with Tucker because he's one of us. And now we're all sucked right back in. As opposed to really, truly contributing to who and what you need to do, who you need to be, what you need to create, what you need to do. Right? Giving to yourself. Reciprocating with other givers, sharing and growing and understanding more comprehension about yourself. We're spending so much time focusing on what's going on with Tucker Carlson that none of us are understanding what the ethos really is and maybe what we can do with it. And maybe if we really focus hard enough, it's possible that we could fly or we could change or we could adapt or grow or let's just say that we are a 100% result of our influence. And our influence right now is fucking with us. Right? But what if your influence was how to read minds, how to levitate objects, If your influence was stuff that we've never been able to fathom or think about here because the whole thing that we've been thinking about is how limiting humans are and how terrible humans are and how our whole lives we've been inundated with the fact that we must fight World War I, World War II, every single natural disaster that's probably been predicated, the majority of them. I would say, from my research, I would say all of it. Every single thing that's ever been bullshit or horrible has been organized, right? There's holes in absolutely everything. Everything that's coming down the pipe this time, there's holes, which means everything that we've ever been exposed to our whole lives are holes. And when that's the case, you lose yourself. And the whole purpose of what we're doing here, the whole purpose of the Mental Mastery Alliance, the whole purpose of you listening to this show and the other shows that you listen to is to comprehend yourself. Now, I know what some of you can say, hey, this is influence. I'm allowing you to influence me right now. Well, it's true. But I'm not, I'm going to say this. I'm doing my best. And again, to you, like to me right now, I need to do this vent. I need to vent this. What's funny is I sat down to record an entirely different episode, but then my brain just spit this out. This is clearly what was on my mind. And it just came out. This whole thing, I was going somewhere else, which is just now going to be the next episode. Or it'll be the one before this. I'll just record another one back to back and put that one out the way. Who knows what I'm going to do? This may come first. This may come second. But what I was saying was, it may appear that I'm influencing you, but I'm not. Unless I am. In which case I would be. But the influence I would like to leave is for you guys to think more about yourself, more about where you are, more about how you got here. To think about how you're thinking about your thoughts. I don't want to influence anyone's opinion. I don't want to influence anything at all. I just, if I'm going to have an influence, it's going to be how you choose to address you, how you choose to view you, how you choose to see what it is that you're choosing to see. And understand that everything that you can see and do see and will look at is subjective to the entirety of your past. Therefore, what you deduce moving forward is a result of the information that you took in from the past, which is usually false. Even the stuff that we've come to believe is true as a counter to the false stuff that we've learned is more than likely also false. And the true reality, the true freedom comes from getting yourself to a point where you can extrapolate to things that we've never even considered or thought of. That shit's the magic zone. Because any point that anyone can make right here or want to make or want to fight about or anything like that, It's just more of this universe, this realm taking our energy. And how many times have we heard the term, usurper, you're losing your energy, this world exists to suck you dry. Like, look at the Matrix, right? All of those people in tubes, right? The movies. That's what, like, that. There's so much foretelling about that being the thing that's happening. They're just using us as batteries. So every time we get sucked back into it, we give it its energy, and then it runs more. If we all unplugged ourselves, literally and figuratively, whatever it is, if we all unplugged ourselves, what would the power be? What would the change be? What would this be? What would that be? And understandably, too, you see this great awakening that's going on, and you see, so apparently it's more people waking up and more people becoming aware. But what I see is more chaos. So it can be looked at in two different ways. It can be like, well, the more chaos that's going on is waking up more people. Or is it that more people are paying attention to the chaos? In other words, the machine, and the machine's getting more power. And the with that more power, it ramps up more things. Because remember, for years, none of us were really paying attention to anything. Like, I mean, as far as I know in my existence, all of the 80s, everyone was dead. Brain dead, not paying attention to stuff. Things were okay. Things were copacetic. The universe may have been getting our attention, our energy, but it wasn't stealing it. It wasn't forcing it out of us. We were just blindly not really paying attention. We were kind of just going through the motions. Now, granted, you can only do that for so long until people start asking questions generically. So maybe that's the cusp. Maybe that's the precipice. Principal. Wow, brain's not working that well. But I digress. All of the things that we're doing, every place that we give our attention to takes more than we want it to. We're like, I'll look at this for a minute. And then it's like, no, look a little bit more. And how many times, too, have you been looking into your black mirror, your cell phone, and you've lost an hour or 2 hours, or you've lost motivation to do something, or you're not hanging out with your friends, or you're on your bed and you're just chilling out staring at the phone, and you're low on energy and you're mad at yourself because you didn't move enough today because the phone was there and because it's an addiction. It's got our attention. It's got our energy. We stare at the phone. We look at Facebook. We look at Instagram. We look at TikTok. We just look. We don't do anything. We just look. And sometimes we feel like we've accomplished something and sometimes we don't. But most of the time, none of us have that we're losing human connection. We're losing what the pieces of us that make us through this stuff. And it's not a foreboding thing. This whole podcast is just an awareness raiser. It's like, hey man, what the fuck? We're all in this and we're all doing our best to fight the power, quote unquote. But it's that very attention that's taking it from us all. It's just wiping us out. It's madness, really. Madness, I say. What can we do? Just be cognitive of what we're paying our attention to, of what we're doing. When we start to get lost, reel it back in, draw it back in. Don't get sucked into people that want to spread hate. Man, there's a lot of people out there that want to spread hate, and they masquerade as an old friend, somebody you used to know. They masquerade as a Facebook stranger, just looking for a fight. They don't understand you. They don't want to understand you. They want you to be wrong and to be the bad guy. Don't engage. Even as a joke, if you start engaging as a joke, it takes your energy. There's so much more fun stuff to be doing out there. There's so much more fun stuff to be doing. And if you can find a mix of something somewhere in person and physical, like going out and connecting with people and friends and sitting in a coffee shop, something, anyway, playing soccer, playing baseball, playing sports, watching sports, connecting with people, being out, just simply moving around, you take your energy back. And to me, taking back your energy from a world that's hell-bent on taking it from you changes the game. It allows you to do anything. And that's the same thing as like, turn this podcast off, take what you can from this. Alan Watts said it best, take the message and hang up the phone. Once you get what you need from the Instagram, from the socials, whatever, move on. Don't give it too much of you, so much so that you lose a piece of you. And only you know that limit. Only you know how you feel in any given day, at any given moment. And when you've given too much, you know it. You can take it back. You can take your power back. Ladies and gentlemen, in the infamous words of Red Green, keep your stick on the ice.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Stay connected with us directly through the mentalmasteryalliance.com. You can also join the discussion on Instagram at instagram.com/the Mental Mastery Alliance. Let the team know you're listening by using the hashtag TMMA or tagging us at the Mental Mastery Alliance. To have your voice heard on the show, leave a voicemail or send a text to 647-338-1265. Long distance charges may apply. If you love us, leave us a review. If you hate us, you spend your time in weird ways, but also leave a review. Every review on iTunes tickles the algorithm, helping us grow. Until next time, unity over division. This concludes the most surreal portion of your day.
You got it, Pontiac.